6:39 on this Wednesday edition of Palmetto Mornings. 73 degrees right here on WRHI FM 100.1, your home for news, talk, and sports. I'm Lucas McFadden.
And I'm Patty Mercer. You know, Lucas, when it comes to 2020, now 2021, we've had so much information, loss. The pandemic has just introduced so much anxiety, you know, in terms of just life as we do it and life as we are living it and going forward with that. Now we've got Afghanistan, which we've been 20 years in this situation, to just suddenly see this exodus look and appear as if it was the worst possible way of doing that. And you can't help but be affected. I mean, our heart feels for the loss of lives. And yet we've got to maintain we've got to maintain strength. How do we do that? Especially when we have children, we want to be strong for our friends. We want to be strong for our children. We're seeing alcoholism increase through the COVID-19 pandemic, and it's just a lot. It's a lot. But have no fear. You said I could go to you with Dua Lipa music.
Yep.
Well, we've got someone that we can go to who is a former United States Marine, an expert in the fields of mental toughness and emotional intelligence. Our friend Eric Rittmeyer is with us this morning. Hi, Rick. Hi, Eric.
Patty, the intro is all you're making me smile as I'm listening to you guys. I feel this is a once-a-year thing. I always come on when crazy stuff is happening. You guys have to have me on more often.
I would love that. You're always just this burst of energy. But, I mean, my goodness, we need an infusion this morning because there's a lot of stuff for all of us just to process right now.
Oh, my goodness. I refer to these as emotional tornadoes, Patty. Like, we are in this perpetual, never-ending, it's topic to topic to topic that just does not allow us any type of mental rest. And our nation right now, not just our nation, but the world is just going through this crazy insanity, and people are losing their minds. And unfortunately, what we have to do is recognize that we're struggling. People are struggling emotionally. There's so much that's happening, and we just got to get back to the core issues here and recognize that, you know, I keep hearing this phrase, everybody's saying, you know, we're all in the same boat. And I take it a step further and say we're not on the same boat, we're all in the same storm. How we entered into this storm, you know, our level of mental preparedness varied. Some of us came into this storm on a 50-foot yacht that was fully staffed. Other people came in a 5-foot inflatable with a hole in the boat and one paddle. So we're not all in the same boat. We're all in the same storm. We have to recognize that.
That is a great way to explain it.
Yeah, no kidding.
And again, we don't always know the size of the boat, so we shouldn't judge the decisions that a neighbor, a friend, someone we don't know, the decisions that they're making. We don't know their life. So we go forward.
Patty, here's the thing about emotions, right? Emotions are person dependent. So the way you respond to a situation might be totally polar opposite of how I respond to it. There was actually a pediatrician and a researcher by the name of Dr. Thomas Boyce who came up with this concept of the dandelion versus the orchid, and this especially pertained to kids. But what he found was that about 80% of kids were dandelions, which means they're very resilient. They handled stress pretty well. But about 20% of kids were dandelions, which means they were more susceptible to these exterior factors. They were more sensitive. And this whole premise was that, hey, we have to treat our children specifically based on their level of how they handle situations. Not everyone is prepared to deal with these issues. So we have to recognize that our emotional responses are going to be different. Mine's not right. Yours isn't wrong. Each person's entitled to their own emotional response. Just because I feel, you know, regardless of how ill-calibrated I feel your emotional response is, you're entitled to it. And it's no one else's business to judge how you respond to a situation.
Absolutely. I love that. The dandelion, resilient, the orchid, 20% of children are going to just hear it and interpret it magnified, if you will. And that's why, again, words, parents have to be very careful in and identify what type of child they're dealing with. On another topic, Afghanistan, you are a former Marine. Thank you so much for your service. What, from that perspective, are those who fought, sacrificed, whether a life, whether the quality of the life they knew before going to the Middle East, what are they feeling through this situation that we're seeing?
Patty, you know what's crazy? Like I speak on mental toughness, which is basically emotional control, right? This is what I speak on. It's about understanding that emotion and logic are inversely related. As we become more emotional, we become less logical. So for me personally, it's all about remaining in control of my emotions, attempting to remain in control of my emotions 100% of the time. That's not always possible, unfortunately. The situation that's happening right now is just an absolute disaster, and there are so many emotions on so many levels. And I think the best way to put this is that we all look for this perfect world that does not exist. There are going to be things that we need to do in order to function as a society. They're not going to be comfortable. They're not going to be fun. You know, you look at the schools, right? You look at mass shootings and kids that do horrible things in schools. I believe you had me on air talking about that once before. You know, it's unfortunate, but what's real is the fact that we need to have armed people in schools to protect our kids. Okay, that's a fact. Nobody likes it. Nobody wants it. I don't want guns in my kid's school. It is the way it is. When it comes to Afghanistan specifically, what we really have to view is that is a region that is going to require some sort of presence from our part. Okay, nobody wants that. I don't like that, but let's look at it. There were 2,500 people, U.S. troops that were there serving. 2,500. Okay, unfortunately, me personally, I believe that needed to remain there. That had to remain there for lots of reasons. The way this went down, the loss of life, and we're not even out of the woods yet. They don't even know the total number yet. They're saying anywhere from 5 to 40,000. That's how inept this whole the people are that are handling the situation. Anywhere between 5 and 40,000 Americans that are now trapped behind enemy lines. If that does not stoke emotion in you and make you upset, angry, frustrated, mad, all those different emotions, you're not a living, breathing human. This is absolutely out of control at this point, and we're not even out of the woods yet.
And it just seems like we talk about our intelligence and making informed decisions, and that it wouldn't happen. It seems to, as admitted by President Biden, he was surprised at the rate that the Taliban took over what we had fought to recover for the Afghanistan people. Wow.
Yeah, and this is nuts. And when you look at everything, okay, so in the Marine Corps and any branch of service, right, rule number one, no man left behind. Okay, so if you just look at this whole situation, number one, there's absolutely positively zero reason why a U.S. service member stepped foot off of Afghanistan before every single United States citizen was evacuated out of there. There's absolutely zero reason. You cannot give me any valid military strategy that would state that U.S. service members leave before U.S. civilians. That's pure insanity. Secondly, our military equipment. We left behind billions of dollars in military equipment that now is right for anybody. We have Black Hawk helicopters. We have tanks there. You think that China, you think that Russia are not going to capitalize on it? They're now getting in bed with the Taliban. Okay, thirdly, look at the infrastructure that we built there. Why do we give up the biggest airport? Everything about it was absolutely botched, but at the core of all this stuff, Patty, we have U.S. civilians that are now they are basically in a combat zone. They cannot get to the airport. And what does the U.S. say to them? They send out a message saying, hey, make your way to the airport. We cannot guarantee your safety. That's exactly what they said to them.
Wow.
What alternate universe are we living in right now?
Well, I don't know, but you have presented some just very important facts that I think everybody needs to understand. I love how you put into perspective this ability to get us, manage our emotions. Where can we go? Where can our listeners go to follow you, to learn more about how to develop the balance between, our hearts and our minds? Where do we go?
You're the best, Patty. My website's the best. It's mentaltoughness.speaker.com. I'm all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, catching hate on Twitter like everybody hates. Twitter's such a mean place. I don't know why I even have a Twitter account. It's such a mean place. But I'm there too. But yeah, and obviously I am a little worked up this morning. I do apologize for that. But just this is a very upsetting time for everybody. And I think as a nation, what we have to do, everybody needs to wake up, and we have got to stop allowing our hearts to supersede our eyes. We're allowing what we feel in our hearts to supersede anything fact-based. That there needs to be some major change happening. So I apologize for getting a little worked up this morning. But,
no, you're fine.
Normally I'm a normally functioning, emotionally in control kind of person, and you can find me on mentaltoughness.speaker.com.
Well, listen, you'd fit right in on this show because we just talked about we climb up on our high horse every now and then or our soapbox, and we come right back down. But to your
logic
point,
fits.
check your emotions at the door. To your point, it's so hard. It's so easy to get so worked up when it's common sense.
Emotions
thinking,
just cloud it.
Yeah, emotions just tarnish everything, and it's just does not end well for sure.
Right.
So,
alrighty, Eric, thank you so much. We look forward to the next time. Have a great day.
Appreciate you guys. Don't wait a year to have me back. I'd love to talk to you guys again. Take care of yourselves.
Okay.